So you read the title. If you haven't, read it again. What is up, Finn? We're going to talk a little more Tua Tagovailoa. Per reports, he's not retiring. So I'm going to go over what Barry Jackson kind of talked about, and we'll see how that all pans out. Also, there is talks that CJ Beathard is a quarterback that the Dolphins are interested in, and Ryan Tannehill is being a little bit of a picky princess. I don't know if that's the word I want to use. Also, I'm going to kind of talk about the fact that the season's not over. But before we jump in, but we're going to talk first. We're going to talk about Tua Tagovailoa. So this was I don't even say it. This came out from Barry Jackson, title saying Tua will not retire per reports. More details as he recovers from concussion. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa does not intend to retire after sustaining at least 4 concussions in his life. Concussions of his life. The 4th concussion, at least the 4th concussion. I apologize. On Thursday against Buffalo, NFL Network reported Sunday. Tua is meeting with a concussion specialist, and he and doctors will determine when he returns to the field in ordinance with the NFL concussion protocol. My understanding is Tua has no plans to retire, Ian Rappaport said on Sunday. No plans to retire. His eyes are ready on returning to the football field. As far as when that goes, we simply don't know. Every concussion is different. The way every player responds to concussions is different. He will be healthy enough to play when he is healthy enough to play is when he and his doctors decide that. I swear that's what it says. I swear that's what it says. The way every player, okay, that's not it. He will be healthy enough to play. When he is healthy enough to play is when he and his doctor decide that. I read it weird, but still is pretty funny. He already begun the process of seeing concussion specialists as he did in 2022. I wouldn't be surprised if he saw the same doctors. The goal is to get on the field when he is ready. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses multiple games. ESPN Adam Schefter reported later Sunday that Tua would like to continue playing and doesn't have any plans to retire. This is going into the meeting with neurologist, which will help give him more information, make an informed decision. Coach McDaniel talked about it. He expects him to miss Sunday. They're going forward with Skyler. McDaniel spoke to reporters, yada, yada. Interview with Miami Herald, Chris Nowinski, and see, yeah. So essentially, Tua is not retiring, per reports. But it's all about when is he coming back. And this is where he talks to the doctors. This is where he has an understanding and figures out how long. Now, I said when he got hurt, first off, I was like, horrible concussion, especially when he had the fencing arm. And I was like, best case scenario is coming back against Indy. They should shut him down. And they, I don't know if you necessarily need to put him on IR. Let's see, you got Seattle, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, because you got 3 weeks and he'd be out 4. So then he really probably wouldn't come back till the Cardinals game. But again, it's up to what the neurologists say. I can't sit here and say one way or the other. I'm also not going to go delve too far into what I would do because, again, who am I? I am not his family. I am not a doctor, nor am I Tua. This decision's up to Tua, regardless of my feelings on the situation of should he or shouldn't he. It's not up to me. Just like, all these players have come out, Brewski and saying he should retire, he should retire. It's not up to me. It's not up to them. It's up to Tua. It's up to the Miami Dolphins organization, and it's up to his neurologists whether he should come back or not. Thankfully, he wasn't carted off the field, but still, it was a pretty bad concussion. But we'll see how that all pans out. If I had to guess, I think he comes back for the Cardinals game. I think we're 3 games without him. Seattle Titans and Patriots. 3 games that the Dolphins can win. And I will talk about that in a second because a lot of people, again, are freaking out thinking that the season is over. But first, We're going to listen to something. This is from Sunday Night Football, and this is from Mike Flores.
I'm joined now by Mike Florio to talk about the news that everyone's been talking about basically all week. We saw Tua Tagovailoa sustain another concussion against the Bills on Thursday night. What would be the latest on his status?
Well, there's a standard 5-step process that's used anytime a player has a concussion before he can be cleared to return to play. And there's no indication that anyone's going to try to rush it here. Let's do the right thing for everyone involved, and particularly for Tua Tagovailoa. Once he is cleared to play, if he's cleared to play, then he'll have a decision to make about whether he wants to play. But that is all to be determined with no urgency other than making sure he's okay. The Dolphins, meanwhile, have two quarterbacks, Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle. I'm told C.J. Beathard is on their short list. He knows the offense, and he's worked with Coach Mike McDaniel in the past. There's been some talk about Ryan Tannehill. I'm told Tannehill is going to be very selective. He wants to go somewhere where he'll be the starter, not just for a week or two, but for the rest of the year.
It's interesting because it's a decision that he's had to make before, back in 2022, after sustaining that concussion in Cincy. He sat out for 2 weeks. I went to Miami and talked to him before he came back in week 7, and he made it very clear he had sought second opinions. He was taking it very seriously, but he also wanted everyone to know that he loves football so much for what it can do for others, for the change that it can make. And we've actually seen some of that change from Bills fans after the concussion.
Yeah, I mean, Bills fans stepping up again, making tons of donations to his foundation. As of Saturday afternoon, it was over $50,000, and more people showing their appreciation for and concern for Tua Tagovailoa.
All right, the Tua Foundation.
Yeah, so first, real quick before I delve into what he said about C.J. Beathard, shout out to Bills Mafia. There's a very minor, small percentage of them that are horrible. Make fun of Tua, they're garbage. A big majority, I'd say 95% of them, awesome human beings. A lot of things transcend football. We kind of, when we have donated to their causes, they have donated to ours. We're humans in the end. We're football fans. Some of us can take the ribbing and the back and forth, rivalry. Some can't, and some go a little too low and a little too dirty. But shout out to Bills Mafia. Total respect. I kind of talked about it on Twitter. The other thing, C.J. Beathard, he does have somewhat of an understanding of the offense, so bringing him in wouldn't be an instance where we got to teach him everything and all that stuff. So that might be something that happens this week, is bringing in C.J. Beathard, because Tim Boyle, I don't want to see that man on our football field. Nope, don't want to. Now, with Tua Tagovailoa and him coming back, that is another situation where, again, he needs to figure out when, how, and all that other stuff. Will he be better? And some people talk about wearing the Guardian cap. To me, the Guardian cap wouldn't have prevented this previous concussion, because it's the way his head was moved running into Damar Hamlin and how it cocked his neck and so it wasn't about the impact here or wasn't about the impact here. It was more about the hit on his head to the side. So I don't think the Guardian cap would have really prevented much there. And also it has to do with a lot of Tua and he's got to be smarter with the football. All of his concussions weren't on the offensive line, because the offensive line is a problem, but they weren't on the offensive line. His previous concussion, he should have slid. The concussion against the Packers, he tried to make something out of nothing, trying to scramble, tackled, hit his head. The concussion against the Bengals, he had days on days on days to throw the ball, took too long, and he got whipped to the ground instead of just throwing the ball away and realizing my time's up, either run or throw the ball away. And his concussion in Alabama, where he also fractured his hip, again, you're up by so many scores. He tries to play hero ball, got a concussion. He needs to be smarter in that aspect of get rid of the ball, man. You are susceptible to concussions. You need to play smarter in those instances. What will he play like when he comes back? I don't know. But that kind of transitions into people thinking that our season's over. Do I think the Miami Dolphins season's over going into week 2 of the season, being 1-1, tied with a plethora of AFC teams that are 1-1, and there's even really good teams like the Ravens who are 0-2. Do I think the Dolphins season's over? No. There is 15 games left to be played. And after what I've seen off these first 2 weeks, a lot of these hard teams that we'll be facing aren't as hard as you would think. Pause on that. Also, after the bye, we have 3 games until our bye week. After the bye, we're getting Bradley Chubb back. We're getting Isaiah Wynn back. We're getting Odell Beckham Jr. back. We're getting River Craycraft back. We're getting we might get Malik Washington back beforehand. And we're getting Cam Smith back. We are getting a lot of pivotal players back to help us out, especially Chubb, OBJ, Craycraft, and Cam Smith, because I am not liking what I'm seeing out of Kader Kohu in the slot or nickel. Those guys coming back are going to be huge and going to really help, because we already see what our third receivers look like in the aspect of, DeBow and Chosen and Braxton Berrios. Like, they need to elevate Eric Izukama, and he needs to play, because it's bad. It's really bad. But these guys are going to come back. What it's going to entail is we need to win the next 3 games. Now, if by, worst case scenario, go into the bye week being up 3-2, it would be a fantastic to go into the bye week 4-1. It would be horrible going into the bye week 1-4. Skylar Thompson needs to play like his life depends on it. Now, when and will and how will they bring in CJ Beathard? We'll need to see that. But Skylar needs to play like, hey, I'm the next Brock Purdy, even though he had a horrible game against the Minnesota Vikings. And he needs to play smart, decisive football. He has the mobility, he has the arm strength. It's about in between his ears. If he can play that style of football, and if he can get the ball to the playmakers and let these things, matriculate, and also we run the ball with Achane, who went off, and you saw how the run game helped with the Jets versus the Titans and, all that. Then we can, do what the Chargers are doing with Justin Herbert. They're not asking Justin Herbert to go out there and throw the ball 30, 40 times. They have done the opposite. They have J.K. Dobbins running the ball, and Herbert's throwing it about 20. He's barely breaking 150 passing yards. You look at these teams that are winning without their offense and their quarterbacks doing too much. We can do that in these next 3 weeks. And that goes into my other point about the fact that the season's not over. To me, is the defense where I want it to be? No. Is the defense hot garbage? No. I think that the defense did what they could do in the first half against Buffalo. And if the offense answered back, again, puts more pressure on their offense, helps our defense. Didn't happen. Same thing against Jacksonville. Held them to 0 points in the second half. Also held them to 17 in the first. Gave the offense a ton of opportunities. They didn't take a part of it. Also, they caused the fumble. The defense is only going to get better. The more time they play together, the more time they learn the defense, the more time they learn the playbook and all the recognition and stuff like that, they're only going to get better. I told you guys, it normally takes about 4 weeks for 1 to see the landscape of the NFL, but 2 to understand new playbooks. It's week 2. And to me, they're a little bit ahead of schedule, especially when you look at last year, the way that defense looked in the first 2 weeks. You look at the Chargers game, we gave up 30 points, 20 something points. I honestly think that the defense will get better, and that's going to actually help us out, especially if the defense can get better. We stick to the run game and all that other stuff. And the final thing I'm going to talk about, and this doesn't equate to is the season over or not. This equates to Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. To me, if they let this train run away and go off the rails, their jobs are on the line. That's my opinion. You might think, hey, Doug, you're being a little harsh, or you're jumping to conclusions and you got to let things play out, blah, blah, blah. No, this is year 3. This is where you see what team you have. And if it's not a team that's going to take you in the direction you need to go, you need to jettison it and figure something out. For Chris Greer, he needs to fix the problems that everyone and their mother are noticing, and he's just sitting there not doing anything. 1, your third receiver is garbage. Now, obviously, we don't have Malik Washington out there. We don't have Odell out there. We don't have Craycraft out there. But it's garbage, and you're not probably going to have those guys for the next 3 weeks. You need to figure something out. DeBose is not it. Adam Thielen is not it. I'm sorry, Braxton Berrios, you're not it. These guys can't get separation. They're running the wrong routes or they're running lazy routes. Also, why is Tyreek and Jalen Waddle consistently being off the field? Like in big pivotal third down situations, you don't have your best playmakers out there. Figure that out. Also, your offensive line is already banged up more than it was before, with Teron Armstead dealing with a shoulder injury, and you have Robert Jones, who's not good. So I don't really care there. Figure that out. Fix it. The other thing, Mike McDaniel, this is where you can rally your team, and this is where you can show you are a good coach, and this team is not the team it was the past 2 years. Past 2 years, we started hot, 3-0, and then we fell apart. Now we're starting slow, 1-1. You're hitting that adversity that he always talks about. Adversity breeds whatever you want to say. Now's your chance, my man. You started 1-1. You're facing 3 winnable teams. Seattle's going to be hard, and the Patriots' defense is going to be hard. The Patriots' offense sucks. Tennessee, Will Levis let him consistently make mistakes and beat them. If you can get into the bye week, like I said, 3-2, I want 4-1. That shows that you can turn it around. You can make the adjustments, because week 1 and week 2, your offense has sucked. It's not like, it sucked. It's bad. It's not anywhere where it was the past 2 years. You had the number 1 offense. It's not even there. You need to fix it. You also need to fix your mistakes as a play caller, as a head coach. These are all things we need to see going forward to dictate, is the season over or not. But for me, 1-1 going into week 3, no, I don't think the season's over. I need to see Skyler step it up, and I also need to see the rest of the team step it up. I need to see the rest of the playmakers and the rest of the veterans and the rest of the captains on the team step it up. Sealer, you have disappeared. We've seen Calais Campbell. We've seen Phillips. We've seen Ogba get sacks and help this team out. Sealer, you've disappeared. Javon Holland, he needs to step it up a little more. He helped with the Jaguars game. He hurt with the Bills game. We need to see these guys step it up and help more. But I think they know that as well. You got a little bit of time. They're heading over to Seattle. This is it. I said it before with the Bills game, and I'm saying it again. Change the narrative. Put up or shut up. You're facing an undefeated team in the Seattle Seahawks. Beat a winning team. If not, that's all I got to say. But comment below. Let me know what you think about possibly bringing in CJ Beathard. What do you think about Tua coming out saying reportedly he's not going to retire? And do you think the season's over? And what I said, does it make any sense? But other than that, like usual, stay classy. Evans up.